guys, it's Sam, and today I'm going to do a video, possibly a book chat, although I'm not really sure if this would fall into a book chat category. But basically, I'm going to talk about some of my favorite films, and I basically want recommendations for books based on these films that I like. Like, that's my biggest motivation for doing this. But I'm also going to recommend some books that I feel like do line up with some of the things in these movies that I like. But honestly, my biggest thing is like, I like these movies a lot, so recommend me things based on these movies. These also are not ranked, and these are not all of my favorite movies. Like, there's some that I just enjoy and think they're fun. And basically, like, don't judge me on any of my movie decisions, because, like, I'm not here to be a film critic, okay? Like, that's not what this is about. These are just things that I like about these movies, and I want to see them in, like, book form, and I just haven't been able to find, like, a ton of them with some of these things. So, the first movie is Sweet Home Alabama. Now, this is one of my favorite romantic comedies. Like, I just eat it up, and it's kind of like romantic comedy / drama. I mean, there is comedy in it, but I feel like it leans on both. And I'm not a big rom-com fan, like, at all. It's just not my genre. But this movie I love so much because I love Southern romances, and I find that they're really hard to find. Like, unless it's a Christian lit kind of thing, which I do not read, you can't really find a lot of these, and they're a little, like, I don't know, Harlequin romance novels, and I'm not really into that either. So, like, if you guys can recommend me either a YA or an adult book that's like romantic drama-y, that's Southern, please tell me about it in the comments. One that I've read that comes really close to this is Magnolia by Christie. This is about two teenagers who are in families that are best friend families, so their families have always wanted them to get together, but something has always kept them apart. They have not been close, they do not like each other. It's like an anti-Romeo and Juliet, and then stuff just brings them together, but they're like cotillions, and all the guys drive like big stupid trucks, and like there's all this like Southern stuff. Everyone has like a wraparound porch. Like, I want all these Southern tropes. Like, I'm sure someone made moonshine. I don't know. Like, I just want all of that. Very Sweet Home Alabama, Southern trope. You know, people are doing reenactments of the Civil War. Like, I just want that. You know? And not anything that's in like a really problematic way. Just like in like a fun Southern romance. It's all cute. You know? Like, they're doing little like parties and stuff. Kind of like that show. What's that show? Heart of Dixie. Kind of like that. Like that in Sweet Home Alabama. I just want kind of like that in like a book form. So if you guys have any recommendations besides this, which was really good, then send them my way. The next one is like a constant thing for me, and that is Pirates of the Caribbean. I pronounce it Caribbean when I'm talking about Pirates of the Caribbean, but I say Caribbean when I'm talking about the Caribbean islands. Does anyone do that? Like, at all, ever? I call it Pirates of the Caribbean, but I say Caribbean any other time. I don't know why this is. But anyway, I just want fun pirate books. And it doesn't even have to be like traditional pirates, although I do love the traditional pirate books. It can be space pirates. It can be, I mean, that's pretty much it. Either traditional pirates or like space pirates. I don't really want modern pirates or like in the future water pirates. Like, I want either space pirates or like that time period Pirates of the Caribbean pirates. Pirates of the Caribbean is like my favorite franchise, one of my favorite franchises ever, and the fact that we're coming out with a new one, I'm dying. I'm so excited. Somebody pointed it to me on Tumblr because I didn't know, and a couple days ago someone was like, have you seen the new Pirates trailer? And I was like, what? And I went like, looked up immediately, like almost started crying. I love it so much. So if you guys have any recommendations for pirate books that are like that aren't overly cheesy, are not romantic books, like you can have romance in them, but like are not overly romantic, again, no like Harlequin, you know, corset ripping, none of that. I don't really want that. I want like the fun of Pirates of the Caribbean, either in water back in the day or in space. That's what I want. The closest thing to a good pirate book that I've been able to find is The Assassin's Curse and The Pirate's Wish Duology by Cassandra Clarke. These are really good. There's pirates and assassins in them, and it's not completely pirates, and they're not really doing piratey things necessarily. They are and they aren't. So there's pirate elements, and the pirate elements that they had I really liked, but it's not overly pirate. Like, I want just all ships all the time. You know, like, I want them going to all, like Tortuga. You know, like, I want all of that. Preferably with a female lead. Not completely necessary, but preferably. I know I'm being really picky here, but these are the things that I want and that I can't find. The next one is another, like, don't judge me kind of thing, but Coyote Ugly. This movie is one of my, like, guilty pleasures, although I'm not really that guilty about it, but, like, I know some of the people would, like, judge me for it, but I don't really care. Coyote Ugly. If you guys haven't seen it, it's like an early 2000s movie, and it's about a girl who, like, I think wants to be a singer, but basically she moves somewhere, is it LA? I forget where exactly she moves. She's from like a small town girl and she moves, I think, to the big city. I think it's LA or New York. And she ends up working at a bar called Coyote Ugly. Coyote Ugly is like a franchise of places now, and I think they have one in like Las Vegas or something. Anyway, and it's very like trashy but like over the top. The girls dance in the bars, they sing, da 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 da, and it's all tied into like, I think, LeAnn Rimes songs. But don't worry about that part. Don't worry about that part. Basically, I want a new adult book that's like that. I don't even have any that are like that at all. I guess I kind of have one. I guess a more about Krista and Becca Ritchie is sort of like that because we have a girl who wants to be a gymnast and she goes to Las Vegas and ends up getting in with the circus there. It's kind of like Cirque du Soleil. So it's very kind of similar like that, and it's a new adult. But like I want this like bar, like badass bar thing. They're all women that work at the bar, so that's really cool, and they're all badass. So there's just one girl who always is like beating up the rude male patrons. Like, it's really great, and I want that in book form, especially if it's new adult, because I feel like it would work so well for new adult. Like, you have a girl like going to a big town like, I want that. So if you guys have any recommendations for that, please let me know. Like, again, not like romance novel, but like new adult. I guess new adult romance is fine. I just don't really want like any adult romance novels. But I want like that kind of thing. I think it works well for the new adult genre. Yeah. Then we have a bunch of movies that I'm kind of combining into one, even though all of them are not that similar. But they are in a way, with the way that they're like shot and in their like themes kind of. So, The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Interstellar, Prestige, and The Fountain. These are all like directed by different people with a few exceptions in there. So like Christopher Nolan movies / like Darren Aronofsky movies, and then yeah, I don't know if that covers all the directors. I'm missing somebody in there. But these kinds of like weird, kind of out there, sort of sci-fi, sort of fantasy, kind of magical realism stories I want in like book form. I know that's super broad. It's super broad. But especially if you have really realistic relationships in there. I think the biggest one to focus on here is The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, because the thing I love about that is that it's very like magical realism kind of, and you have this very realistic depiction of relationships. I'm sure everybody knows the synopsis of that one, but basically it's these two people and they break up and the girl goes and gets her mind wiped of any memory of him because she doesn't want the pain of it anymore. And then he finds out she does that and is really hurt and goes and does it himself too. But as his memories are fading, he realizes like he doesn't want to lose his memories, because even though some of them are hurtful, like some of that was really important and all this stuff. It's really, really good. So something like that where it's like a realistic depiction of relationships with magical realism kind of mixed in, that'd be really good. And then just like the rest of the movies are kind of just like weird. And I think they also have like that theme of like realistic relationships going on in there. The Prestige, I think, is most closest to The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, kind of, because you have that, like, obviously the magic thing, but you do have, again, these, like, morally ambiguous characters, like, who's the villain and who's not and all that stuff, so I think that works really well with that. I also haven't read this book yet, but The Cost of All Things by Maggie Luhrmann is supposed to be kind of a mix between Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and We Were Liars. So I haven't read this yet, so I can't say that, but I've heard that that's a thing. But yeah, any of those, kind of like that with, like, Interstellar. But Interstellar is weird because also there's a lot of space stuff in there that I just will not understand. So I don't really want the space part of that. Just like the weirdest. And like The Fountain is another like weird one. I don't really know what I'm asking with this. But focus most on The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, because I want that kind of magical realism thing with a realistic comment on relationships. I think Landline by Rainbow Rowell does that fairly well. This was a little more cutesy than that is, because it's Rainbow Rowell, but it does have that magical realism element with the like realistic relationship element that I liked. And lastly is not a movie, but I can tie a movie into it, I guess. I guess if we have Star Wars up there as like a movie thing, but my bigger thing is Mass Effect, the video game franchise, because I'm a trash can. Okay, Mass Effect, because I know many of you haven't played it, is a video game series set in space. It's a space video game series, and the biggest draw about it for me is that it has an excellent story and the characters are amazing. So it's very character focused. A good book representation of this is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. This is set in space, it's on a spaceship, and there's a lot of different alien species involved in it, and it's pretty much like a character study on all these people on the ship who are humans and aliens, mostly aliens. And it's amazing, and it very, very much reminds me of Mass Effect and the character relations you get. So I'm looking for more, like, space operas with these really good character interactions. I prefer it with female leads. It's always going to be my preference. I am able to find a lot of sci-fi that has male leads, which doesn't interest me quite as much because I'm always really skeptical, and if the female characters are going to be done well at all, I just get really nervous. So I prefer female leads. You know, I'll take what I can, basically, but I want, like, space opera. I could even do a little more action than this because this isn't particularly, like, action-based. It's very much character-focused. I do prefer, like, an even split, though, between, like, character focus and action. And I feel like that's kind of the same way with, like, Star Wars. It's very similar. So if you guys have any space opera recommendations that are, like, really good characters and, like, hopefully lots of alien species that I can, like, fall in love with, let me know. Because I'm always in the mood for that, by the way. Alright, so that is it for now for some of my favorite movies and books that I'd like to see that are similar to those movies. I gave some recs for you if you like those movies as well, and please give some recs for me as well. Also, please comment down below and let me know some of your favorite movies and books that you want to see that are kind of similar, and then I can recommend some if I know of any, and other people can recommend stuff too, and we can just commiserate over there being some, like, really good movies that doesn't have, like, a book, you know, counterpart. Because there needs to be more, especially of the ones I just talked about, because I need more of that. All of it, please. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye!